They are a bit of a cumulative hobby because they're such real characters, and they do grow on you and they wheedle their way into your affection. So very often you'll find that people will have more than one. They're very intelligent little dogs. They're not necessarily the world's most obedient, so if you wanted to do high-class obedience you'd probably buy a Labrador instead, but they're great company, they love being out in the countryside, and they're really good companions, really good family dogs. We've got 6 at the moment, probably about as many as we need to have really.
The Dachshund comes in 6 varieties, so there's a huge range of choice. We split them first into sizes. We have the Standard Dachshunds and then the miniature Dachshunds.
And then they come in 3 different coats. So we have the smooth head, which is the classic one that everybody would recognise as the sort of sausage dog, if you like. We have the long haired coat, which is more like something like an Irish setter type coat, and then the wire haired, which is more like a terrier coat. The temperaments are slightly different in the different varieties. Probably the wire coated ones are the most extrovert. The long coated ones are probably more laid back, and the smooth's probably a bit more of a one person or one family type dog, so a little bit more independent perhaps.
Although they're a member of the hound group, they're really a terrier. They were a dog that were originally bred for badger control and fox control. So they do have certain terrier characteristics, some of which have been largely bred out now, so they do make ideal family dogs.
If you look at the paws, they've got fantastic paws for digging. So if you don't want it to dig your garden, give it a space or a sandpit filled with soil or something where it's got the opportunity to do it.
They can take as much exercise as you'd like to give them. Ours get at least an hour a day. Most of that is off the lead in the countryside. They look like they're lap dogs, but they really need to be exercised. They will start bouncing off the walls. They will be potentially destructive and noisy if they don't get the mental and the physical stimulation.
Obviously they've got a very long spine, so you want to be careful when exercising, build your exercise up appropriately.
They usually make quite good companions. We would look to maybe rehome one with a nice retired person or couple that's at home with them for their human company, and they don't need that excessive exercise.
You're probably not going to get gold standard obedience out of them, but people do obedience, people do mini agility, people do heel work to music, that sort of thing, so they are trainable. It just depends on how far you want to go, but don't expect it to be world class, I don't think. They all need to be groomed at least once a week. The wire coats have to be hand stripped. If you need to hand strip a wire, you either need to be taught how to do it or to take the dog to a proper grooming parlour. Typically 3 or 4 times a year those wire coats would need to be hand stripped. The longs, obviously you need to be more careful about getting the coats, not allowing them to get tangled, and the smooths really only need a sort of polish with a bristle brush. Back disease is the main health issue in the breed, and it varies from the different varieties. We did a health survey and found that the miniature smooths and the standard smooths were more prone to back disease. The long hairs were less, and the wire hairs were less prone to it as well. And you really do have to be careful about not letting them run up and down stairs, because that will obviously put extra pressure on the spine. Because they're a dwarf breed, they're known as a chondrodystrophic breed, and that with the dwarfism, the discs in the spine calcify earlier than in a normal dog, normal leg dog, and it's that causes the back problems. And typically, if you're going to have problems, it'll come on between about 4 and 7 years old. If you get through the 7-year barrier, then typically they will go on to good old age without any problems.
Just check your breed lines when you're thinking about buying a puppy. There has been some aggression in some lines, and it's come from the fearfulness. So you want to be thinking about checking out your breeder, making sure that you've seen the parents and that there's no fearfulness in that breed line.
I think probably the thing to think about is that you'll probably want a second one.